bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. Woo! Welcome, everyone, to the very special 10th episode of Obscurity Now. My name is Steve, and with me is my co-host,
Yahel, and I am ready to get in the house because jump, the house is jumping.
Oh man, you told. I was so gonna say that, but I'm glad. I'm just glad one of us did. Yes, jump, the house is jumping. Unless you can't jump because you're injured in some way. I didn't know if you wanted to call attention to that or not.
Yes, well, that's why you get a smart house so that it will jump for you, among other things.
Well played. Oh, are you talking about sexual stuff?
Yes.
Just throwing you a little monkey wrench there. A non-sexual monkey wrench. But anyway, welcome everybody. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. And if for some reason you have to leave, you can always pick up the show later on our YouTube channel or via audio podcast. And those will be available tomorrow. So make sure you check them out. Obscurity Now, wherever you get podcasts. Hell, 10 episodes.
Hello, Steve.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, 10 years, one episode a year. It's.
I mean, this we've been going strong since like 1976. It's amazing.
Yeah. I remember my dad used to listen to the show before I was born. He told me.
I just remember.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't talk to my dad.
Oh,
no,
happy Father's Day. Wow, this show is all over the place. It's going up, going down. It's a roller coaster of emotion, just like the movie we watched, Disney's Smart House.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, how did we even come to watch this thing? I've never even heard of it before. I
suggested it to you. I had heard of it from a video that Brutal Moose did on YouTube. And he talked about it. This is maybe like 3 years ago. It's been a while. And I thought the movie looked absolutely ridiculous. And yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. So without further ado, let's go to the theater so we can talk about Smart House.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
So, as you can see, we've got our beautiful slideshow here going on. That's our main family that we're going to be spending the next 90 minutes with. I feel like the movie was even longer than that. But before we get too deep into the movie, what is your relationship, Yahel, with Disney? As you know, as a kid, as an adult, just tell me about your relationship with Disney. What you think about it?
It's marred in controversy, in pain. No, I didn't have the Disney Channel growing up, but I do remember watching a couple like Disney shows whenever they would do the preview, like once or twice a year or whatever, the free preview. And living in Florida, we went to Disney every once in a blue moon.
Sure.
That's pretty much it. Even as a kid, I was not like huge into Disney. The thing I liked the most about Disney was I like the R.L. Stein Goosebumps book you made.
Is that? Oh, you saw that? I didn't make that. Yeah. I found it online. I just thought it'd be cool to throw in there.
Yeah. But I like The Lion King. That's
Great.
About the extent of my relationship with Disney. What about you, Steve?
Well, we had the Disney Channel. Like when we used to live out in the middle of nowhere in South Carolina, so no regular like cable company could like throw a line to us. So my dad, I guess, had no choice but to get this massive like NASA style satellite dish that was pretty much too complicated for my like 6-year-old brain to work it. But the only channel I was able to find was the Disney Channel. And I mean, but then it was just like, just watching all the classic stuff because I guess they didn't have as much content back then as they have now. Like, I feel like this version of the Disney Channel was when it went to like mainstream cable and it wasn't a like a premium like at that point. And also probably since this movie came out in like 98, I imagine that neither you nor I were probably watching the Disney Channel as juniors in high school.
Steve, I would have been a year post high school. I would have been a freshman in college.
Oh, well, so even more reason
so
for you.
I was watching a lot of Disney is what I'm saying.
No, but what I really like most about Disney is the Disney Afternoon. Were you ever into that?
Never even heard of it.
Oh, well, it was like this block of syndicated animated shows. That's like where Chippendale Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, Tailspin, and it came on just like regular like ABC or something like that. You never watched any of those shows?
No. Steve, I'm noticing that the stream is like real, like start and stop.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, let me see.
The audio keeps going, but we keep stopping visually.
Okay, let me see if I can make a few adjustments here. All right.
It wouldn't be an Obscurity Now 10th anniversary
Without technical problems, I know.
Yes.
How about now?
Yeah, seems to be okay.
Yeah, cool. Great. So you never got a chance to watch any Disney Afternoon when you were a young lad?
No, I mean, the only stuff I watched in the afternoon, nothing on the Disney Channel. Like, I don't think we ever got the Disney Channel for free.
Right, but I mean, it was on like regular TV is what I'm saying.
Oh, you're talking about like the Disney cartoons?
Yeah, the Disney Afternoon.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, I was checking. I was just like so distracted by our robotic appearances on the stream, our ghoulish robotic appearances. Yeah, like I used to watch like DuckTales.
Yeah,
and,
all right, there you go. I mean that to me is like the best that Disney had to offer. I mean, aside from a few movies like Lion King, Aladdin, like I kind of liked when they were trying to be more, I guess, action oriented with like, did you ever see, what is it called, Atlantis or Escape?
Gargoyles?
Oh, I mean, that was great. Yeah, I mean, Gargoyles is awesome. But I just meant like movie wise. I thought like Atlantis was a pretty decent one. It's basically
No, I never saw
It's
it.
basically Stargate, only Atlantis and Disney style, but
not Stargate Atlanta.
exactly. Not
confusing at all.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. So basically, neither of us was watching Disney Channel when this movie came out. I mean,
No.
I remember when I would be flipping through the channels on like a boring Saturday afternoon, and I would land on one of those live action Disney Channel shows. It was always like some little kid like making a pun, and then there was a laugh track or something, and I would just roll my eyes and move on. And I imagine you were probably looking for a Star Trek rerun.
I mean, possibly, or maybe if I want to get my Star Trek fix from Disney, I can put on Gargoyles. Jonathan Frakes, Captain Riker. Is one of the voices.
That's true. He was.
And Deanna Troi ended up having some guest appearances on Gargoyles as well.
Hey, well, this isn't an episode for Gargoyles, though I would love to do one eventually.
Well, it better be like an hour and a half long one for all the Star Trek guest appearances.
Right. All right. So enough about Gargoyles and Disney. Oh, okay. I guess one last thing about Disney. What do you think about Disney now as an adult?
Well, I don't, man. So I watched this movie on Disney Plus, and I'm like as far as the kids stuff that's on there, like most of it I haven't even heard of.
Right,
like I'm
of
very
course.
unfamiliar with it. I don't have kids either, so I don't really have a reason to go looking into it. So, as far as like all the other stuff, it's just weird because they've bought so many like other properties that, and some of them, everybody thinks always of Marvel and Star Wars, but they have like a lot of other like companies that produce like R-rated movies and stuff. And
right.
I don't know, man. It's just weird.
Yeah, I feel like they're spreading themselves pretty thin and ruining the things that they are acquisitioning. I mean, Star Wars aside, they now own Fox. Like The Simpsons, my favorite show. Even though many people were saying that they were a shadow of their former self prior to Disney buying them, I feel like the show is even worse now because there's really nothing worse than like Disney style humor, in my opinion. It's again, it's usually someone making some pun and then a laugh track. And I was really expecting this movie to be filled with nothing but that, but I would say I was kind of pleasantly surprised that it wasn't, a complete wacky pun fest. But before we get into that, let's talk about the IMDb for what is this? Smart House. Yes.
Yes.
So it was released June 26th, 1999. My mistake. I said 98. It's 99. It's an hour and 22 minutes. I mean, I would say I felt that running time in different areas of the film. And the production company was actually, I don't know, Alan Sachs Productions. I can't say I've ever heard of that. And of course,
former pornography company, Alan Sachs.
Yes. I mean, again, it wouldn't be Obscurity Now if we didn't get some porno names in there. Obviously, distributed by the Disney Channel in 1999. And then basically in every other place it was distributed by Disney Plus. And here it says that it was on Disney ABC domestic television. So if you didn't have the premium Disney Channel in 1999, you could watch it on ABC.
Yep. And it got a DVD release.
Did it?
Oh
yeah, it was still it was still technically the 90s. So yeah, everything was still getting.
But it's weird because it's I get that it's a Disney Channel movie or whatever, but it's still a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's so weird that they were like, yeah, put it on a DVD.
So Yahel, did you want to handle the director?
Steve, do I want to handle him like physically?
I mean, well, I already know the answer to that question. I mean, would you like to speak about him?
Yeah, he actually, I met the director once at a convention of sorts, and did I already tell you this? How he shoved me when I was after I took a picture with him?
I don't think so.
And I was really drunk.
Wait, I think this is coming back to me now.
And I go there to take my picture with this very famous person, and he says, we take the picture, he says, pleasantries, and he goes to basically just direct me off the platform, and he says, there you go. But I was so drunk that the very light touch from LeVar Burton made me nearly tumble to the ground, and he was very apologetic. He said, I'm sorry, and I was like, oh, this is great. Because this was directed by Star Trek's own Geordie LaForge, LeVar Burton.
Wait for it.
Oh no! We just entered another Star Trek connection.
There it is.
And Steve, now that you've already sounded the alarm on this, can we talk about Kevin Kilner, I believe is his name? I lost it here. The guy that plays the husband or the dad.
I should say. Yeah, sure. Let's talk about him.
So Kevin Kilner, I recognize this guy, and I couldn't figure out what I recognized him from. Then I looked, and he played William Boone on another show that we should probably cover, Earth: Final Conflict.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Which I don't know if you know this, but Final Conflict was created by Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek as well. So I don't know if you were aware, Steve, but I was very aware. In fact, it's usually called Gene Roddenberry's Earth: Final Conflict.
I do remember Earth: Final Conflict, and I was definitely getting, where do I know this guy from vibes from the dad, who I thought was actually quite good in this. I thought,
honestly, much better than this deserved to be.
I think the cast as a whole is pretty decent. But all right, let's get through the IMDb.
Well, Steve, hold on.
Is there more connections?
Steve, I'd just like to discuss one other actor.
Sure.
Emilio Borelli, he plays Miles, which is the assistant to Sarah. He was in an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He played a Ferengi named Frul. Spelled as in fool, but with an R. And he was one of the Ferengi who joined the first ever Ferengi Workers Union.
All right, I have to play this one more time.
Oh no! We've just entered another Star Trek connection.
Wow, I can't believe you got 3 out of this. Like, when I saw the director, I was like, that son of a bitch. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. Like, here, I thought we were just getting a random Disney movie. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to be able to connect him to Star Trek this time. But Yahel wins not only again, but 3 times. Awesome. That's great. Like, is there, I mean, obviously, aside from Katy Segal, is there anyone else of note that needs to be mentioned in here? I mean, I could just read the list, but
I don't think so, man. I went through everybody on the list, as you can probably tell. And
right.
No one else, first of all, no one else was on Star Trek, so that's a demerit. But
yeah, no one was in any Tarantino movies or worked with Sam Raimi, so screw them.
Yeah. Exactly.
But there is a cool name here, Logan O'Brien. I guess he's one of the friends.
I believe he's a vigilante now.
He's a real tough guy, bub.
Yeah.
But all right, so Katy Segal. At first, I thought at least the casting of her as a robot voice, because this is basically a voiceover role for her. I was like, man, her voice is so shrill, like compared to an Alexa, or like I'm like that's. I mean, but again, there was no Alexa when this came out. Of course, she doesn't really sound like Hal from 2001 either. But then at the end when she appeared, I was like, this casting is spot on. And she really was one of the standouts for this film. But let's see. All right, the writers are William Hudson and Stu Krieger. And I think that's pretty much it for the IMDb. Were there any standout I don't know, little nuggets of whatever? I didn't see any when I was looking.
No. I mean, some of these actors like worked pretty much for like another couple of years after this movie, and then I guess their dreams came crashing down on them.
They were,
but there were a few that had a lot of like bit parts, like one-offs on shows, even through today. But nobody did anything major.
Sure, gotcha. All right, well. Let's get right into it then. Like we open with a.
Did you want to read the synopsis though?
Oh yeah, good point. Okay, here we go. A teenager wins a fully automated dream house in a competition, but soon the computer controlling it begins to take over and everything gets out of control. Then teenage Ben must calm the computer named Pat. Oh, how oddly written. Okay, so
very weird.
So yeah, that's basically it. This family who's already in a perfectly good house that many people here in 2021 are like dying to buy.
Right.
He applies. He signs up for this contest to get this smart house that he explains. He explains later that basically he's trying to make his dad's life so smooth and laid back that he'll never feel the need to try to replace his long deceased mother. Which I was kind of surprised. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say surprised, but I don't know. I guess it's been a while since I've seen a family drama or any kind of like drama from Disney. Like everything, I mean, especially like Marvel movies and most of the stuff they release now, like even if it's like serious for like 2 seconds in a scene, then someone slips on a banana peel and undercuts the drama and everything. But this actually had like an emotional core. I was surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, one of my cats is trying to murder the other one right now. This is an emotional movie, and I guess it's getting to the cats. Let me just mute myself.
Okay, he's killing his cats, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. Just talk about the movie for a second, Steve.
He's killing them softly with his song. As I told you, I thought this was going to be a Disney laugh fest filled with their particular brand of Disney humor. But it was really more of a family drama with a slight soft science fiction peppered in.
My apologies, Steve. The cats were not supposed to both be in here. I don't know how that happened, but maybe I've got a pat, a smart house pat, like in this movie.
Get your
making
house in
decisions
order,
for me.
Yahel. Get your house in
Yeah.
order, or you're fired. I'll send you right back to your successful YouTube channel. Then that'll show you.
But yeah, and by the way, somebody in the chat mentioned that Smoke Monster said they should have cast the kid from Thunder in Paradise and Hogan as the dad for this movie. The kid from Thunder in Paradise is JT from Step by Step. I think he would have been a little
right.
too old, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of Thunder in Paradise, we have another Thunder in Paradise connection, if you will. Whenever they would go into like the computer area of the smart house, it felt like to me they were on the boat from Thunder in Paradise.
Right, like Thunder.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Even the way Katie would aggressively, Pat.
Oh, you know her, huh?
Yeah, well, Katie Segal would aggressively talk as Pat. Sometimes reminded me of Thunder, but this movie, like, it's weird because like it's I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's not what I expected at all, even though I had seen like the video before.
Right.
There's a lot of the characters have like, I guess, reasonable motivations.
Yeah, it's actually it's a decent premise and a decent plot. And the dialogue is down to earth. There are a few times when it drifts into cheese Disney territory and also like
For sure.
Full House-ish territory. In my notes, I have the what was the young girl's name? I just called her Sis most of the time.
I feel like it was like Angie or something like that.
Yeah, well, all right, the most I could ask from any Disney movie, or I guess maybe almost any family movie, since we've already been through like Care Bears and Chipmunks and whatnot, is to like not be annoying. And
Sure.
I could say that this movie like didn't really annoy me all that much, which like really blew my mind because I was expecting to hate this. Like I thought you and I were gonna have to rip it apart, but it really.
I was laughing out loud several times during this movie. Now, granted, I wouldn't say that they meant it, but a lot of the dialogue and characters, it's really not bad. Like, oddly enough, like the arguments are especially realistic. Like so basically, we should probably backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Like you were saying, Ben wants to the older son, he wants to just make life perfect for the family. He makes some awful food like tuna and milk or whatever he was making at the beginning of the movie. Tuna and pasta or whatever.
Right.
But he doesn't want his dad to like date. Now, where I have a problem with this movie is it goes to extremes sometimes, like in how Ben is like a little insane about it.
Sure,
but
I think we could write it off and say that he's emotional. He's an emotional teenager who's still sort of recovering from the death of his mom.
Sort of, Steve. This kid needs therapy.
Well, yeah, but instead of therapy, he gets the therapy in the form of one Pat supercomputer, one Katy Segal. And it's funny because you can draw parallels from Smart House to Weird Science, 2001 A Space Odyssey, and even Terminator 2 if you want, because it's all about technology running amok. And with Weird Science and Terminator 2, it's actually about like technology filling the void of like an absent, I don't know, mother or father figure. I mean, like, I guess Lisa in Weird Science. You are familiar with?
Yeah, I watch Weird Science. Yeah,
like she's, I don't know. Would you say she's more of a big sister figure than a mom?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, those are. If you want to dig deep enough, that's what that's basically what this is. Yeah. And in the end, I mean, Pat, she does sort of fulfill the need, or she does for a while, and then she leaves once Sarah works her way. But
it's never Pat's fault, because the only reason why Pat goes out of control and becomes like the such a possessive kind of mother type stereotype is because the kid is so adamant about his dad Ben is so adamant about his dad not dating Sarah, the inventor of the smart house, that he starts like program Pat with all this other stuff. Oh, this is what a real mother should be like. And he feeds her like these like stereotypical like old sitcoms or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like, it was real weird.
Yeah, that was an odd choice because I mean that's just like the idea of a mother and not a real mother at all.
Yeah.
But you know, again, you can like write it off as, you know, he's so desperate to not have a new mom, which of course is like super selfish because, you know, he should want his dad to be happy. And I mean, and they do, you know, resolve it in a fairly touching scene. I mean, I don't really watch these.
You cried, Steve?
No. But I mean, I was just surprised that the scene was even there, just because I've been so beaten down by just corporate filmmaking over the last 10 years that there's just very little that makes me feel anything, anything at all.
Well, yeah, it's so maybe I know that we don't want to go over the whole plot of the film,
Right.
but we should probably touch on a few points.
Sure.
Ben enters a contest to win this smart house. They win it. The smart house does everything for him. It makes dinner, food, it clean. Oh my God, the cleaning! Like when they spill something on the floor, and what do they call the floor absorbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like somebody spills like a milkshake, and like the floor absorbers suck it up.
Right.
And one of them asks like, where does it go? And Pat says, I don't know if it's Pat or Sarah, but one of them says, in the floor absorbers. That's not an answer. That's not a fucking answer.
No.
So there's just some room in this house filled with like shit, like that's rotting away.
Sure.
But anyway, everything's great for a little while, and then Sarah, there's some problem with the smart house. I think it malfunctions, making another milkshake, and that's when Sarah comes over to fix it. Sarah and the dad kind of get to talking, you know, and we do get. This is a very horny man. This father. Now, being a Disney movie, they don't come out and say it, Steve.
No, it's subtext,
obvious, right?
Subtext.
Yeah, like he's asking him at one point, "Hey, were there any messages for me?" No messages. Oh, really? I was expecting a message from Michelle or whatever. He's
Right.
like, "Oh yeah." This little asshole's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to give you the message from her last Thursday," and the dad's like, "Ugh."
She owed me a blowjob. Come on.
Basically.
Nah, what was I gonna say? All right, all right, we'll work up to her when Sarah shows up. I mean, I'm curious of your thoughts on Sarah, the character.
I mean, I thought it was fine. I did like that they didn't make her like. It's almost like they couldn't decide what to do with her. I feel like.
I think they wanted to lean into wacky professor nerd type, but I don't know. Maybe it was the stern hand of one Geordie LaForge, aka LeVar Burton, who was like, "No, Disney, we're not gonna go that way. She's gonna be a real person." Even though it got close. It got close to the Disney cringe. That's what I call it, the Disney cringe factor. When they were at dinner, and she was like, "Oh, I have a rat for a pet. His name is Butler. Yeah. Rat Butler. Get it?" And I was like, "Ooh, easy there, Sarah. Don't make me hate you." But luckily, there wasn't a whole lot of that. So yeah, everyone was very tolerable.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right that maybe they wrote her to be kind of nerdy or whatever, but she played her like a real person. Yes. I thought she did a pretty good job.
For sure.
And I bet, knowing Mr. LaForge as I do and his strong hand, I could see him picking up a phone very sternly and letting Mr. Eisner know, "Hey, man, I didn't do Roots, and Star Trek The Next Generation shows ahead of their time, shows that are progressive, to come here and film a stereotype."
I have an idea that the reason why they picked him to direct it is because, all right, so there's an ongoing gag that, like, you know, producers and management types like just have no imagination, and they were just like, you know, they were looking through who can we get to direct this thing? It's like, oh look, it's that Geordie guy. He's involved with science fiction stuff. Let him direct it. Like, who cares if he has any directorial like abilities or anything? He'll have his little visor thing. That'll tell him how to do it. But since we're on the subject, I thought it started out like really great cinematography wise. Like there was a lot of like panning and stuff going on at the beginning. Like I guess that, you know, they were trying to make it, you know, feel like they were a busy family, like really And then there was a shot from above a basketball hoop looking down, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting this from a like Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
But then it kind of sort of toned down as the movie went on. But
yeah, I think especially once they started to do special effects shots is
oh,
what I
sure,
noticed.
You gotta lock it down.
Yep. And obviously, and that's really where you see the movie's lack of budget.
And the age of the movie.
Yeah. The CG is not good.
Which in turn made it better.
Yeah. But anyways, so the Sarah and the dad, they start to get along. The dad eventually asks her on a date. That's when the kid gets mad, feeds all the stuff into Pat to make her like more like a mom, but she becomes overbearing, controlling the kids' lives. Like at one point, she like shock them when they're trying to leave. Ben's trying to leave because he won't. I can't remember what he wasn't doing that she wanted him to do, but whatever.
Oh, was that when she was like, pull your pants up, Ben?
Yes.
Oh, and he did it. I was like, yes. If only that could happen to like every like Caucasian white boy in America.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, it's cool to wear it like this, and she's like, no, it's not. You look ridiculous. Pull him up.
Oh man, if only my little brother would have been in that smart house. Anyway, that's
if only. But yeah, and then not long after that, because like they get Sarah to come over again. She tries to fix the machine. She tries to shut it down, but Pat has become sentient at this point somehow.
Is that what was going on? Because I was just like, wait a minute. You're shut down. Like computers don't magically come back to life after they've been shut down.
She became self-aware,
sure.
Which leads to a very Star Trek-like moral quandary at the end of this episode. But in my opinion, so she becomes self-aware, keeps herself from being shut down, and then ends up making like a holographic projection of herself. Just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because this is an AI, by the way. We should point out that the smart house is run by an artificial intelligence.
Sure.
So it learns.
Do you remember what PAT is an acronym for?
No.
All right, let me see if I can find it.
Okay, while you're looking that up, I'll finish up and tell you because I'm almost done here. But yeah, anyways, Pat goes crazy. She's like, you guys can't leave. I'm going to be your best friend. I'm going to be this and that. Really creepy, actually. And it could have even like worked as a little bit of like a horror movie. I feel like this concept, if you just like retool it just a little bit.
Oh, it already has been several horror movies, but I'll mention that later. Yeah, go on ahead.
And anyways, long story short, at the end, Sarah's there trying to help them and protect them. And Ben says, Pat, you're not real. You can't hug me like Sarah and my dad just did to protect us, blah, blah, blah. Pat gets all sad about it, but she's like, okay, you're right. And she, agrees to go away. Although then at the end of the movie, she's still in the computer.
Yeah. Like they couldn't, I mean, that would have really said something if they got rid of her. It would say like, that maybe we, don't need to rely on technology so bad. But, it's a Disney movie, so they had to go with the happiest ending possible.
I think they wrote them, and I think they wrote themselves into a corner because they made her so lifelike at that point. It's a Disney movie. If you like shut her off, it's like, a little kid might be watching it like a dumb 6-year-old and be like, oh, they killed Pat,
Oh, they killed Peggy Bundy. No.
Yeah. So, I think that, and they even say like, she's alive now. Ben says it. So at that point you can't really kill her off, but Sarah and Boone from Gene Roddenberry's Earth's Final Conflict
live happily ever after, get together.
And Pat puts chocolate chips in their pancakes without Boone knowing.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Hey, that's a Disney Channel pun.
Yep, some Disney cringe for you right there. Yeah. There was a few things I wanted you to touch on that you sort of glossed over, and that is,
please do. I was trying to just go over it as quickly as possible.
No, you did great job. But I love the like in classic Weird Science 80s movie style, Pat arranges a house party, the cleanest, like most Disney friendly house party you could ever possibly imagine.
Not a drop of alcohol.
Oh no. And of course, like no like actual, hand on hand or like hip dancing. They're all like line dancing or something.
Yeah.
And what they're dancing to is the most generic, like end of the 90s boy band stuff you could ever possibly imagine.
Steve,
There's a picture.
That was a real group.
Oh, I know. It's still generic though.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's weird that they had maybe real music is being generous, but they had artists that were selling CDs
out of
in
the back
real
of their
stores.
cars. Oh, right.
And Smoke Monster wrote is this Disney horror. The real horror was the music.
Oh, that was this is another one of the things that severely like dates the movie. And it's funny.
C'est la vie, I think, is the other song that the girl Angie, the little sister, listens to on the video walls.
Oh man, and yeah, I mean, you could just tell this is like classic Disney cross promotion. I'm sure this is like some stuff they were playing on their like Radio Disney channel, and they're like, we need to give these kids an extra rub. Let's put them on that Smart House flick. But one important thing that happened at the house, actually there's two of them, the house party, if you will, was, you have your Star Trek connection. Well, I think for the first time ever, this might be a Simpsons connection. Like the girlfriend, I don't remember her name, but she shows up. All right, there's a Simpsons episode where Marge, she finds this Chanel suit like for sale at a thrift store or something, and she gets it, and it like totally pretty much changes their lives. Like some rich snobby country club people like see her and like invite her to the country club and blah 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 blah. But anyway, the girlfriend looks like she's wearing an outfit exactly like Marge's, and here's my evidence. Bam, there it is.
I think Gwen is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It hasn't come up for me yet, but okay.
Look at that.
Okay,
back and to the left.
Oh.
Back
Wow.
and to the left.
That is suspiciously similar.
I mean, maybe that's just the typical Chanel suit or something, but I don't know. That really cracked me up, and I just wanted to tell the world. Oh, and one more time, back and to the left. Okay. So yeah, it's not as groundbreaking as your Star Trek connections, but still, we're gonna and also.
But hey, maybe you'll be able to find a Simpsons fabric-related reference in future episodes.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath. But also, this is, I believe, the second appearance of the bully, who I believe is a young... There he is! Guy Fieri, or at least sporting the Guy Fieri look.
Yeah. And when we first see him, he's got like his little henchman with him who also has like the same haircut, but his hair is like purple or orange or something. I can't remember.
And then I could just see him, he pushes Ben away and he's like, "Come on, guys, let's go to some diners, dive-ins, and drives." Like...
Steve, you mentioned dated, how the music makes it dated. And there's a couple other things that are really make it dated. Like at one point, the dad tells the kid, Ben, "Hey, are you still on the internet? How am I going to I'm going to miss my phone calls if you're tying up the phone line all night."
That was so awesome. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows now that are, remember when like 80s throwback was cool? Well, now like 90s throwback is cool.
Yeah.
And I watched that new like Fear Street movie on Netflix, and there's actually a scene where someone is on the phone and then another person is on the computer, and they're supposed to be on, dial-up or whatever, and I'm just like, like, what do you think you're doing there? But
I see we have a Guy Fieri fan in the chat. This is Flavortown.
Nice.
Historic nerd.
Nice.
But there's a couple other like things that are the websites are obviously like very outdated looking.
Oh, I love their fake like computer SFX, like so hilarious. I mean, that was again very Thunder in Paradise. It's just, we got to put a bunch of crazy stuff on the screen. Like, throw it up there.
That's how computers work.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you notice that when the kid, they talk a few times about how Ben likes basketball, and like at one point he's playing basketball and he takes a shot, and then he's like walks towards his dad holding a basketball while wearing a shirt with a basketball on it, like a picture of a basketball on it.
They really...
like, okay, I get it. This kid likes fucking basketball. Jesus Christ.
Now, I don't think that's a LeVar Burton choice. I mean, I feel that LeVar comes from like this Stanley Kubrick school where, all the clues are very subtle. There's a lot of layers to the mise en scene, if you will. I think that's just the heavy-handedness of one Michael Eisner. God, he's ruining everything. He's ruining the art of Smart House.
Eisner was like, fine, you can make the lead woman a real person, but damn it, the basketball shirt stays. And LeVar's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be over here reading a book to kids.
Yeah. I'm going to be over here making kids' lives better.
Yeah. Another thing about the dad, I don't know, I just now know him as Boone. He also gave off very big Huey Lewis vibes.
Yes. He could definitely pass for like Huey Lewis's brother.
And I mean, we already talked about it, but I don't think we put a name on it. But I think that Ben basically has a messiah complex. Like he wants to.
You think?
He wants to save the whole family, and he doesn't need no new mom to tell him how to save his family.
Steve, I don't know if you wanted to. I know we've kind of been talking about it all over the place, but did you want to touch on your good and your bad before we mix them up a little bit too much?
Yeah, I'm sort of already in it. I'm not going to do those bumpers. They just sort of throw everything out of whack. But I mean, that was basically one of my one of the good things is all the terrible computer SFX stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when they're they're dumb robot tentacles that look like they were stolen straight from Dr. Octopus from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I love it. It's so bad. I love it. And then
they're pretty well animated, very poorly rendered.
Yeah. There was it was like a 16-bit compared to like a 32 bits or something, or whatever. Sam Raimi must have had the 32X version, and they have the Genesis version. But and then there was, of course, the classic cliche when why can't single dads ever pick out their own damn tie? I never understood that. But that was one thing that I was comparing this movie to was a Full House, which I think is the epitome of family cheese. Aside from Disney, of course, and luckily they didn't veer too hard into the Full House lane. I really didn't hate anybody in this. Too bad.
Yeah, I didn't either. And one of the things I have as a good thing, and maybe we're supposed to hate him at least initially, is Ben is a total asshole. And
he is.
I really enjoyed it. At one point early in the movie, which is when I texted you last night, I was like, "Are you watching this?" Because Ben tells Angie, I don't even remember what Angie said. Something about maybe the dad should get a girlfriend or something like that. And Angie's a little sister.
Right.
And Ben tells her, explains to her why she's an idiot about it or whatever. And then he goes and she apologizes. And then Ben says, yeah, well, maybe next time you'll think before you talk.
So he was basically gaslighting his own little sister.
Yes.
Wow. So this was good because, Ben had a solid character arc. Obviously he's not his best self. He's keeping himself from going out for the basketball team. And I think they even probably should have if they really wanted to drive his character arc home, he could have possibly hated all girls. If that girl started paying him attention at school, he could have clammed up or just sort of, brushed her off or whatever. But I don't know. They didn't want to veer into that territory, I guess. They were focused. He didn't want a mom. He just didn't want a new mom.
Yeah. It's weird that they even did that little side plot with the 8th grade girlfriend or whatever, the girl that's into him, because it doesn't really lead anywhere or have anything to do with the final.
That's a good point. I feel like it's just a trope that they felt needed to be there. Yeah.
Like a thing for all Disney rom-coms. There's always D-coms. There's always that's what I hear they're called. That's what we called them back in college, Steve.
When you weren't watching them? Yeah.
When me and my frat brothers would get together, get some Hawaiian Punch and a couple of Quaaludes, and we would just watch Smart House.
Who were the Quaaludes for? Oh, my God.
Ourselves, Steve. We don't want to remember what our lives have become. But, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I really like the cheesy Now, when you say the computer effects, you mean literally the stuff on the screens, not the actual special effects, I assume, right?
I mean, they're all cheesy. I mean, for the most part, right?
Yeah. Like, what did you think about the video walls that are like basically like holodeck walls, I guess, because you can like feel the mist, she says at one point when she's watching a scene of the beach.
Oh, I've got that written right here, holodeck, and I was like, damn it, he did it again. Yeah, I mean, I think they did it the best they could at the time. They looked as good as you would expect for a TV movie.
But what did you think about? So is like, okay, so the house puts on like a beach scene, and the little sister says, "Oh my god!" First of all, her hair starts, getting like flying around, like there's like a breeze, and she goes, "You can feel the mist." So is the wall like spraying them with water? Like,
I mean, it's just part of the absorbing floors. They also have the ability to pump in mist. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I don't even know why I'm getting hung up on this.
I mean, I don't know. Consult your Starfleet manual. Maybe there's something in there. Yeah, I mean, it's just basically one of those things that they explain it away with, oh, it's because of technology, stupid. Come on. Yeah. But no, it's just a green screen, and they're projecting stuff up there. And speaking of those, it was pretty, there were some harsh truths towards the end there. When she's like, I can protect you. The outside world is like too dangerous. Take a look. And was that Nazis or Russians?
Yes. And they show like scenes from like a Nazi parade, right?
Oh, they would never do that nowadays. This was like, hardcore.
I mean, she's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is right.
Like, I mean, this AI knows how to make a point. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be like, it's hard to like then be like, well, no, I mean, that's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, like nowadays they'd be posting up like, political rallies and Trayvon Martin and all that other horrible stuff that's going on.
Yeah. But plenty of new terrible things to show, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, nowadays they wouldn't, put any of that up there. It's all about, escape. And I mean, and aside from...
They would probably just create like, shoot their own footage of something like somebody getting mugged or something like that.
The Disney version of someone being mugged. Ma'am, may I have your purse? No, too bad.
I'd rather
I'm
not.
Taking it anyway. Yoink, and then that's the scene.
But then Mickey Mouse comes up behind her and hugs her.
Yeah, and here's a new purse with my face on it. Yeah. But yeah, that wow. I'm like, man, that blew my mind that was there. I also wanted to call attention to, in one of the earlier scenes inside Ben's room, unless my eyes were deceiving me, I believe I saw a couple of Sega Saturn games next to his TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. He's got like almost a dozen Sega Saturn games. No Sega Saturn.
This is the second movie we watched where Sega products have shown up. I think that's awesome. Yeah. I wonder how many Sega really Connection, like Sega.
Yeah, very very odd. Another thing I had in my good category is I hate kid actors. I mean, I don't like kids to begin with, but these kid actors, pretty good.
Here's the problem. Here's the thing with kid actors is a lot of the times I think they are written by people who don't actually have kids, so they end up being written too smart and too sassy, and that's what I was expecting from Angie. I thought she was going to be a little Olsen twin from Full House, who's just filled with hilarious quips and one-liners. And she did have a few of those, but not enough.
But it was like, But it was like stuff you could see a kid say.
Sure, not enough to make me dislike her. She was fine. There was a time when she, this is great, like again, dated dialogue where she told, I think it was Ben or maybe even Dad, to slow his roll, end quote.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it just seems kind of funny.
But yeah, honestly, she was, and one thing I really like that they did here too is that she wants her dad to have like a girlfriend, and Ben points out to her, you don't even remember mom,
right?
Because she's so much younger, which makes sense. Like she doesn't really remember. She would have been like 2 or something. Sure. So she just wants dad to be happy, and Ben wants his dad to be happy too. But he also doesn't want to feel like his mom is being replaced or like her memory is somehow being tarnished.
Right.
So again, the characters here have surprisingly good motivation.
Yeah, they've got some depth. Like somebody actually cared when they wrote this thing.
You think LeVar Burton didn't read this before he signed on, sir? He's not going to sign on to just anything.
Right. First off, it's got to be like technology related. Otherwise, they just won't hire him. And then it's got to have like, massive character, well filled out characters for sure.
I'm sure at some point he was like sending some notes back to the producers. Hey, what if what if Pat had a visor? What?
And what if Angie was just reading books all the time? How about that? In fact, I'll just read them to her. But so basically, I mean, what we have here is like a family drama, and then at the end, they finally go, full on sort of, typical sort of sci-fi ending. Like, what did you think about the end? I mean, did you have any more good or bad that you wanted to like focus on before we jump to the end?
I mean, under the bad category, I would just say maybe it could have been a little bit shorter.
Absolutely. There was a few times when the pace kind of slowed a bit, and I was like, come on, you're losing me.
Yeah, but I mean, otherwise, like, honestly, as for the kind of movie it's supposed to be in the target audience, I really don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. They had one really nice touch that I noticed at the beginning of the movie, which is when they're at their old house, Steve. I don't know if you noticed, but at their kitchen table, there's a chair missing, which I assume is for the mom.
Whoa.
Which, pretty deep, brother.
Why couldn't they just keep the chair there? I mean, there's only...
Because Ben is a little asshole. He will not have his mother forgotten about.
Wow, I mean, if they did that on purpose, then that is actually some decent filmmaking, and I apply. I mean, maybe, it was the swift cybernetic eye of one LeVar Burton. It was just like, they were about to shoot, and he's like, wait a minute, why is there a fourth chair there? And like the crew is like looking around, and they're just like, no, I won't have this. And he gets up and he rips the chair apart, and he gets back and sits down, and he goes, action. And then they...
Right. He's like, I don't need a visor to see that this chair shouldn't be here.
Why didn't any of you see it? You're fired. And you. I'm going to shoot this whole thing myself.
Speaking of LeVar Burton, Historic Nerd commented, Mr. Burton, are you willing to direct a kids movie about a computer house? And then LeVar replies, does it pay in reading rainbows? That's what I call cocaine.
Wow, that's a very Family Guy. I enjoy that, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, I really don't have like a lot of bad to say. So yeah, we can kind of wrap up with how the movie ends.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, like, it becomes like a full-on sort of technology run amok, sort of sci-fi thing at the end. They don't have like a huge budget. There's no I wouldn't say there's no action. I mean, it's basically her showing off her, like, by her, I mean Pat, showing off her abilities. Like, when she does show up, I was like, yes, like, because, I mean, I really do think Katy Segal is pretty much good in whatever she does, for the most part. And I think this is funny because I feel like this is like post-Futurama before it got like re-signed again at Comedy Central or something. So she was just looking for work and somehow stumbled into this. And it's
she killed it.
Yeah, she did. And it was mostly a voiceover role anyway.
Yeah.
And then when she hams it up at the end, I'm just like, yes, like now I'm like really on board. Like that's what I thought we were gonna get, is like, just everybody hamming it up and not like the emotional powerhouse that we ended up with.
But she like hams it up just the right amount. And sprinkles in like a little bit of like sinister.
Oh, absolutely.
In with it too, like. That could have been like really. I think a lot of people could have played it in a way that would have been really goofy and pulled you out of the movie. But man, she like rode the line perfectly.
She did. Like this whole movie, like really. I mean, again, aside from the boy band music and like the acting, and not to mention the dancing that they did along with the boy band music, like everything else.
Yeah, that was real freaking weird. Ben and his three friends, they were dancing better because they were doing the same dance that the band, which is called Five, by the way. The boy band group is called Five, and there's 5 guys in the boy band group. Like real fucking original guys.
Well, it was a different time. This is before the band Estancia revolutionized music.
Before we revolutionized the boy band.
Well, just music in general. But yeah, no, you're right. She did a great job. Everyone, like, there was a nice bit of nuance to the entire film. And I didn't hate it. I pretty much, I mean, I think maybe towards the middle I might have been like getting like maybe a little boring, but bored. But then when the third act kicked in, I was all on board, and I was just pleasantly surprised because I had low expectations for this movie. Yeah,
and when once like Pat realizes that they're better off, with real humans or whatever, and Sarah's, maybe joining the family or whatever. Like it is pretty heartwarming, like, and very sad, like the way, like, in fact, I think even Angie says like Pat's sad, and they have like these like rain clouds because she had been making like a tornado or a bunch of wind in the house, and instead it turns into like literally like her own little rain cloud over her, and she's all like drenched and sad. She says like that she's gonna miss them. Yeah, and
I'd say that's kind of like there's 2 ways you can go with like sentient computer movies, and like one of them is you basically, they turn completely evil, try to kill you, and you just have to find their central processor and like smash it to bits till they can't do anything anymore. Or I guess you use logic like they did in this to like realize that, hey, you're not really alive, like we were the ones who created you, so see you around, buddy.
Right,
like that sort of thing. Yeah, some of the other sort of computerized, I don't know if I would say this is a computerized house movie, but it's a 70s film called Demon Seed, and it is about...
Is that a Disney Channel
No,
movie?
Definitely not. But it is about a computer that becomes sentient, and I don't even remember how he creates something, and then like the woman who's trapped in the house with him, he's like, you're going to give birth to me.
Oh, wow.
Look it up, everyone. It's a real movie. It's a real family movie. Watch it with the elderly and small children, for sure.
I see Smoke Monster commented that this movie sounds like a form of punishment when you guys explain the plot. But I could see that. But I think if you watch the movie, it'll surprise you. I would say it's actually, I guess we might as well like give our final thoughts. And
all right, let me got a new bumper here for you.
I had a feeling.
Here it comes. Question. Wow. I don't know if that came out as good as I thought it would, but anyway. So yeah, like overall, I think as we were saying, well, here, why don't you go first?
I mean, I liked it. I think even like an adult watching it that doesn't have nostalgia for it would enjoy it. Especially if you're like watching it with a few friends and drinking or whatever. The acting is not bad. Some scenes are actually like very well done. Like Ben gets into an argument with his dad that was like scripted very realistically. And I really like that the dad even like yells at him for the dad sympathizes with him and explains how like he understands that this is all like even harder for him than it has been before because he's getting older and going through all these things with his body and blah blah. But then he like turns on the dime, he's like, but you will not respect anybody ever, like that. It just felt very realistic the way it was played up. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's got some unintentional laughs in it, which is always good in my book, and some surprisingly good performances.
So, all right, we got another. Why does the bully character look like the lead kid just with an allergic reaction to a bee sting? Maybe that's his older brother, but you've got it all wrong, historic nerd. He looks like Guy Fieri. He doesn't look like the lead kid. Adjust your glasses.
He does actually. He does look like the lead kid. The lead kid just looks like a skinny Guy Fieri.
It's true. It's true. Everyone just looks like Guy Fieri in the 90s.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, all right, do you think that should Smart House be remembered further for all of time, or should it be?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You didn't even let me finish.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. All right. Yeah.
I just loved it so much.
Well, all right.
Jordy directed this.
Yes, he did. He sure did. He's definitely a real character, a real human, I should say. Yeah. All right. I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like Hollywood family dramas are they even made anymore? Like everyone's too busy trying to sell crap to China to make something that American families could relate to. However, I really don't know if this is something that could stand the test of time. Like if anything, I think this story is one that will continue to be remade in the future. Like, I mean, I wouldn't, if I had a bunch of friends over, I wouldn't show them this. I'd show them, like, I don't know, The Toxic Avenger or something like that. It's a tough one because it is well written. And there's just a few things that date it, like the special effects and whatnot. It's so hard to choose. I just can't, I mean, would you ever watch this again? Like if we weren't doing a show about it?
I mean, I would, but only if it was something where like I was telling a friend about it and they wanted to watch it or whatever. I'd be like, I'll watch it with you.
Well, they would have to want to. Like, I mean, the kind of stuff I like showing
on my own. No,
Yeah.
On my own, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be like, I'm bored. I'm gonna watch.
Yeah,
this.
there's no way I would ever watch this again, and unless it's with like my child when he's old enough.
Oh, but see, like I'm not someone that like really rewatches a lot of things unless there's Star and Trek in the title. So.
Right. Well, I mean, you've already rendered your verdict. I mean, it's weird because it's a classic story of technology run amok. It's well executed in its writing and acting. But the sound effects and the boy band stuff date it.
The sound effects?
Special effects. I'm sorry.
That's the problem. Steve, what do you mean by the boy band? Are you telling me that Slam Dunk the Funk by hit boy band group 5?
I'm going to have to go...
Isn't it a timeless song?
I'm going to have to go with Cast into the Black Hole of Obscurity. Yeah. I mean,
man.
not...
10 episodes of Not Agreeing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because... It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I just don't think this isn't the kind of thing that people are going to be talking about 10 years from now. That's all.
You know, that's what they said about Smart House 10 years ago. And look at us now.
Oh my God, you're right.
When it was 11 years old.
You know,
but look at us now.
You know, you're kind of right. Does this thing even have like a cult following or something?
It must, because you found like some like pictures where people were like making R.L. Stein.
Well, yeah, it's
like,
just other
it.
loser podcasts doing shows about it.
Well, I think the fact that Brudamus, who has a pretty big YouTube channel, made a video about it with like over 1 million views, and you found some other podcasts that covered it. There's got to be a little bit of, or you know what? It's probably just more that people that grew up watching the DComs have nostalgia for it.
Sure.
And now they're at the age where they're creating content, So
Right.
I bet this is something where like people who grew up with it, I bet like they would rewatch it now.
Sure. But
and get enjoyment out of it in a different way.
Right. But I'll say from our show, I mean, I think a stalemate is probably the best it's going to get.
Yeah.
So which is not bad.
If you're in your late 30s or almost 40 or in your 40s, and you've never seen this before, I mean, it wouldn't be at the top of my recommendation.
Right, but if you were sitting around on a Saturday, maybe with nothing going on, I mean, and you wanted to kill an hour and 30 or 40 minutes, whatever it was, not a couple of beers, why not? Why not?
Throw it on in the background while you're masturbating.
Oh man, well, nowhere to go from there except for out of this place. But all right, well, that was Smart House. I wonder if like Katy Segal does like cons, if like people come up and like, will you sign my my smart house, I don't know, thong, Miss Segal, like.
Well, you saw? I mean, DVD, Steve. They put this out on DVD.
Right. I guess
Maybe
you could use that. I mean, I just have every celebrity I meet sign a thong. It's just what I do.
I would be like, will you sign my Slam Dunk the Funk CD?
You know,
please?
that song is so bad it almost elevates the movie.
What you know what though? What killed me was that, like, as cringy as that scene is, if you go back and watch it, the kids are doing the dance that the slam, because there was a Slam Dunk the Funk dance, and the kids are doing it better and with more energy than the guys in the group on stage.
Well,
so.
those guys, they had just found out that their like contract with Disney was over before that performance. So there you go.
The song was also in like an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, by the way.
Wow, man, they were really, again, another like, you know, Disney owned like property at the time, because it was on ABC. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure they were really trying to get Slam Dunk the Funk out there, but it was just no Go Ninja Go. I'm sorry, just wasn't gonna go.
I agree.
All right, man. Is there anything else the world needs to? How's the video going that everyone should check out?
I mean, the Mario Kart. I'm already on the next video. It's going to be covering the origins of the
Foot
winners
Clan?
don't use.
Oh,
Yes, of the Foot Clan. No, you know how like 90s arcade machines had that winners don't use drugs screen. So it's going to be covering the origins, how that came about to exist. How the FBI was involved, how the guy behind it was the first FBI director in history to be fired.
wow.
William Barr is involved. Bill Clinton is involved.
Wow. Well, I'm already interested. So awesome. Well, great. Everybody, like, subscribe, share, all that other stuff, and we will see you next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, only on Obscurity Now.
Obscurity Cast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.